The world is on edge, and the South China Sea is at the center of it all. This vast stretch of water looks peaceful, but behind the waves lies the hidden plan for World War III. Every superpower knows that whoever controls these waters controls the future of global trade. The South China Sea carries trillions of dollars in goods every single year. Oil, gas, technology, food, and energy pass through these shipping lanes. It is the lifeline of the world, and that is why the hidden plan for war begins. Here China has been preparing for years, building artificial islands, turning reefs into military bases, equipping them with runways, radars, and missile systems. Beijing calls it the Nine-Dash Line, claiming almost the entire sea. Ignoring international law and rejecting the 2016 Hague ruling that declared its claims illegal. But the plan goes deeper. China's goal is to push the United States out of Asia to dominate the Pacific and to cut off rivals like Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines if war breaks out. Beijing already has the advantage of geography, but it needs control of the sea to win. And that is why the hidden plan focuses on the South China Sea. The United States knows this and has its own strategy. Washington has signed treaties with allies like the Philippines, Japan, and Australia, and stationed tens of thousands of troops across Asia. American aircraft carriers patrol the Pacific. Bombers fly from Guam. Submarines lurk beneath the waves. The U.S. plan is simple: contain China before it expands too far. Stop Beijing from turning the South China Sea into its own private lake. But here is the shocking part. Both sides are preparing for a war they hope will never happen, but are ready to fight if forced. China's hidden plan for World War III starts with cyber attacks. Satellites jammed power grids, hacked communication lines cut before the first missile is even launched. The U.S. response plan is equally chilling, hitting Chinese missile launch sites with long-range precision strikes, then deploying aircraft carriers into the sea to control the skies over the Philippines and Vietnam. The world has never seen a battlefield like this, because the South China Sea is not just about China and the U.S. It pulls in everyone. Japan depends on these waters for its survival. South Korea ships its goods through them. India sees China's rise as a direct threat. Vietnam has its own claims and history of war with Beijing. Australia is tied to the American alliance, and even European powers like the UK and France have sent warships through to show they will not accept Chinese control if war breaks out. All these nations could be drawn in the hidden plan of China. Counts on dividing them, picking them off one by one. But the US plan is to unite them into a coalition to isolate China and strike back hard. Imagine the first days of this war. Chinese missiles raining down on U.S. bases in Guam and Japan. American bombers striking artificial islands in the Spratlys Philippine forces, caught in the middle, scrambling to defend their waters. Vietnamese submarines stalking Chinese destroyers. Japanese fighter jets engaging over the East China Sea. Taiwanese forces bracing for invasion, because here is the most dangerous part. If China moves on the Philippines or the South China Sea, it may also try to take Taiwan at the same time, forcing the U.S. to fight on two fronts. This is the hidden nightmare scenario of World War III, and it is why so many military planners call the South China Sea the most dangerous place on Earth. But the plan does not stop there. China has been expanding its Belt and Road Initiative, securing ports in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Africa, building trade routes that bypass the South China Sea. The U.S. counters by strengthening alliances like AUKUS with the UK and Australia, and Quad with India, Japan, and Australia. This is not just about war, it is about shaping the future world order, and both sides know it. But what makes this so dangerous is the speed of escalation. One wrong move, one collision at sea, one missile fired by mistake, and the hidden plan turns into reality. Already we have seen near collisions between Chinese and American ships. Already Chinese jets have harassed American aircraft already. Philippine ships have been blocked with water cannons already. Vietnam has clashed with Chinese fishing fleets. The pieces are being moved like a global chessboard waiting for the spark. The hidden plan of World War III is not openly spoken about, but it is clear in every move China wants. Dominance. The US wants to stop it. Allies are caught in between, and the world is watching silently. The frightening truth is that both sides believe time is against them. China thinks it must act before the US strengthens its alliances further. The US thinks it must act before China becomes too powerful. That belief makes the South China Sea a ticking time bomb. When we talk about World War III, we imagine nuclear weapons, cities burning, millions dead. But the hidden plan here is different. It starts with control of trade routes, with blockades, with limited strikes and cyber warfare. It may not begin with a nuclear exchange, but the risk of escalation is always there. Because once American carriers are sunk or Chinese bases destroyed, neither side will back down, and the use of nuclear weapons becomes possible. That is why the South China Sea is not just a local issue, it is a global one. Europe depends on trade. Asia depends on stability. Africa and the Middle East depend on energy routes. If this sea becomes a war zone, the entire world economy collapses. That is why world leaders talk about peace, but at the same time prepare for war, because they know the stakes are survival. The hidden plan for World War III in the South China Sea is shocking, because it shows us that war is no longer about borders. It is about control of resources, routes, and influence. Whoever wins here shapes the 21st century. The Philippines, small but strategic, is at the very heart of this plan. Its islands, its bases, its waters are vital to either side. And that is why it is constantly in the news, caught between a rising China and a defending America. The hidden plan counts on the Philippines being the first domino. But the question is, will it fall, or will it stand as the front line of resistance? History has shown us that great wars often begin in unexpected places. A gunshot in Sarajevo started World War I, a blitzkrieg into Poland started World War II, and in our time the spark could be a clash in the South China Sea. One small event triggering a chain reaction that drags the world into chaos every day. Warships patrol every day, jets scramble every day, alliances tighten every day, strategies are tested. The hidden plan for World War III is not science fiction. It is unfolding step by step before our eyes. The only question is, when will the fuse be lit, and who will strike first? The South China Sea holds the answer, and that is why the world is watching in silence. Like, subscribe, and share.